What's up guys, this is Jalan. Today we're going to check out something very different. Today we are checking out a commercial office building called Wisma Technip. Check it out. Hey guys, so now we are in the inner road, which is Jalan Inai, and this is a branch, a junction out from Jalan Tun Razak. And if you look into the drone shots, right, we are in between TRX building and Pavilion. So that's something very interesting. What's more interesting in my perspective, it's the entire typology of buildings here. So when we have like TSL Tower here, that is so modern looking. We still have the old houses that are converted into fabulous F&B outlets. So here you have some Arabic food, you will have some Japanese food. Then there's one Levain, which is a place that I used to hang out a lot. And along the way at the far end, that will be Prince Court already. Anyway, we don't get this kind of opportunities to review commercial buildings a lot due to privacy reasons. But today it's going to be a collaboration with this agent, Daniel Leong. He's an expert in all commercial buildings, and now let's go check it out. So coming in, then this will be the main entrance going into the drop-off. And if you want to go into the car park, there will be an entrance into the basement car park at the bottom. So this will be the side entrance. I think this is the main entrance. There will be the separate entrance at Jalan Tun Razak side. So this is Jalan Tun Razak. That is RHB Tower, and this is the new highway. And right next to it, this will be the building that we're going to check out today. So you can see that it's not as high and it's not as crazy in terms of density. Also right in front there will be this residential project called the Forum, and this will be the main drop off right now. And there's a grand entrance. To have a better sense of direction around the building, this is the floor plan of the building that I requested from Daniel. So we are at the drop off. Coming in, this will be the core of the building where there will be 4 lifts servicing all floors. At the side there will be elements of auditorium, a product showroom, and there will be an office and a meeting hall upstairs. Let's go check that out first. Then at the ground floor, coming in via the main lobby, right? At the same floor, there's also an auditorium. So this will be very convenient for companies to use. So whenever you have presentation or product launches, internal meetings, right? This can be very useful. Not all office buildings have this facility, and it's all treated, so you have all the cushion to kind of absorb the sound better. And this is how it looks like from the back. Very cool. Well, this is also connected to the second access, where from the front road, right, this is an inner road, and this connects into the auditorium. This space here looks very different compared to the main front door. And on this side, then you will have somewhat like the customer service room if you need to. So before we proceed further, right, some specs about the building. This is 233,000 square feet in total, and this was completed in 1993. Well, it's actually demonstrated in the form of the architecture and built, but surprisingly when we come into the building, everything is well maintained, so that's the most important. And the available parking space, something that a lot of office building potential owners will need to know. It comes with 304 lots, 304 lots. So in total there will be 12 story, and the level of car parks is separated into 3 basement car parks. And now we are actually standing in the meeting hall. It's very cool looking. Like the selling point then will be the dual frontage, one facing Jalan Tun Razak, one facing Jalan Inai, and you will have separate entrances. It means that if there are several different tenants within the building itself, you can actually separate out the function. So any moment of time, different tenants get to use the facilities provided at the ground floor. And it can also be rented out to companies whenever it's required. Since this is located within city center itself, there will be a lot of usage for facilities like this. That's why, looking at it, everything seems well maintained. And this will be the presentation boardroom. Then everyone gets to have their own I'm not too sure whether this the latest technology, but as long as it's functional, right? And coming down back from the meeting room, right? So this really feels like a product-based company, right? You get to display all your products here. Then when you have a product launch, right? The official one will be at the auditorium. There will be some customer service area. Then for the bosses or for the team members to have meeting upstairs, or shareholders also can lah, right? KL traffic, yeah. So coming out to level 10, we are now in one of the bare furnished units. So today we're going to check out several units because the plan they are having for this building, it's either to rent out at least 3 floor plates altogether, so to ensure the efficiency of the building in use. Then the other plan is to actually exit, which is to sell. And currently this falls under a REIT, which is the one that we always think about investing, right? The Real Estate Investment Trust. The previous tenant actually moved into the newer building, but the benefit of it so far, because of this build up, right? Per floor plate, this is 16,000 square feet. And this is going to be a very crucial part whenever tenants come in to rent, because it's either I can host all my business units of different function within the same floor plate, but if it's too much, sometimes I need to segregate out into different floors, so that's not very nice. This is 16,465 square feet to be exact, and this will be the lift core. There will be several entrances across the floor plate, so you can actually use it to partition based on business unit. The core will also include the washroom at the center. And then for the ceiling height, this is around 2.6, and currently it's bare furniture. You get to put in whatever finishes you want later on. The entire facade line, it's all glass, so that's very good. You will have 4 different balconies, aka smoking corners also. And the distance to columns, it's fine. It's not bulky due to the height of the building. And all the wiring trunkings are all done up. That includes the aircon system as well. So it's just a matter of one switch away for this entire thing to function. And this is a very interesting space. This is one of the balconies, right? And right in front, there will be TSL building, also TRX exchange already. So that's very exciting. You can just imagine all the staffs who work in this very building. It's going to be just a walking distance away for the mall, so you get the convenience whenever they want to cari makan or whatsoever, right? And this is when we talk about the floor plate. So this floor plate is obviously going to be smaller than this older version because this was built 30 years ago. Not only that, there's an MRT station as well, so this is going to be very convenient for everybody who works within this building. However, the not so good side, we can see that this site right now is going to be super in demand. Therefore, there's a lot of empty canvases still, so we are not too sure whether will this view be available, but that's not as important for commercial building. What's more important will be the distance to amenities. And now we are in a separate floor, but this is a typology when it's occupied by one tenant, entire floor, and it's fully furnished. So this will be the floor plate, and the rest will be all windows. In the center area, there will be the sitting area for all your stuff. It can be separated into departments. Then usually the manager's room will then be attached to the facade, where we have all the manager's room located at the side, and this will be how it looks like. It's very spacious, it's very comfortable. Again, this can also be split further if you want to. So as for the price, the current valuation of the building, it's about 150 million. 3 months ago, there was an adjacent building that was just sold at a very good price due to the development of the site, right? Like now TRX is here, MRT is here, and within the sales process of commercial buildings, right now the status is up for offer. But again, the valuation is 150 million. However, if you want to rent, so per square feet right now, they are going for 450. Then for this lower unit layout, the build up for the entire floor plate is 20 over 1000 because of its form. So this one is actually a square. When you go up, it's actually an oval. So the oval one was 17,000. This is 20 over 1000. The ongoing rent, let's calculate. So it's going to be around 90,000 per floor plate. And the owner will actually prefer for you to take up 3 floors at least. This totally brings me back to my corporate days. We have cut black floorings. When you have all these kind of white panel floor lightings, you have all the partitions for the desk and storage area. Then for glass partitions for meeting rooms. And this is the benefit of the trunking system that we see above just now. So you can lay everything yourself and everything is all done up. Then for areas that are located closer to the core of the building, there are no access to daylights, right? Usually these are the areas for meeting rooms because you don't really need open ventilation or whatsoever. So from the lift lobby just now, when we access backwards, this will be how it looks like into the back, where you have the meter room, you have the AHU room, you have the janitor's room, and this will be the location for the bathroom. So this is women's one, this is the men's bathroom, and it looks like that. Anyway, we are now in the second floor and it was used to host all the HODs and managers. Therefore, you can see the partitions are done up using more glass separation. And the size of the rooms are actually way larger. But the only thing about having the building height not as high, right? Your views when you look out. Like just imagine if you are a HOD and when you look out, right? It's actually the balcony of the apartment next door. So it's definitely not going to be like the other high-rise towers where you have the skyline view. This one, you can actually still see the roads lah. Okay, so now we are in the basement car park. As just now when we drive in, there will be a fee collection area, but I guess now it's not as relevant anymore. There will be an auto parking machine somewhere to be installed. And you have epoxy paint throughout the entire road, including the car park bay as well. This will be all the AHU elements. And let's not forget that there will be a restriction of a maximum height of 2 meters, so certain cars or trucks cannot pass through. This will be the old form of fire partitions. Then this will be the access to the lift lobby going up into the building. Yeah, so this is how the lift lobby is going to look like. It goes up 1 floor. So in total there will be 3 levels of basement. Now while walking out from the office building, I get to notice that a lot of banking folks, like from the RHB itself, are walking towards this direction for lunch, as we are now in the lunchtime. And let's try to walk into TRX. While walking around, we will notice a lot of individual lot landed properties from those days are still around. Therefore, the entire typology is not as tidy. Causes a lot of irregular levels from the pedestrian experience. And now we are in TRX MRT station, and it's a transit point between 2 lines. This is the MRT Putrajaya line that connects Sri Damansara, Titi Wangsa over to Conley, over to TRX. It connects to KLCC as well. And it's also a transit from this side as well. And this connects to the Museum Negara, Pasar Seni, Bukit Bintang, TRX, Cochrane and all. So this is the main destination or the benchmark of connectivity that we have always talked about. So when we check into all the MRT TODs, right, all the projects that has TOD aspect to it, right, we will always measure against TRX. And what's so cool is once you come down from the stairs, right in front, that will be the exchange of TRX. So this is the high-end mall of it, and the office building is just right 5 minutes walk away. So that's very, very cool. Well, I guess that's all for the visit. It's now time for Sean's take 3 on 3. The 3 things I like: number 1, definitely the strategic location of it. And the best part of it for me, that it's right before city center itself. It's not like your usual Sultan Ismail. It's not like we need to drive through Bukit Bintang area just to reach the office building. This is located at the fringe of the city center where it can directly be accessed via Jalan Tun Razak. So that's going to be very, very convenient for the tenants or the workers to actually come in and out from the building. And within this zone of address itself is still within this very peculiar state where you have ultra brand new developments like TRX that comes with the MRT, that comes with the high-end mall, that comes with a lot of brand new residential building, a lot with the expansion of the Zouk area. Also, you have the Subway Velocity area with the Cochrane area. It's just a lot of things. Yet, it's a very old address that's around for 40 over years already. Therefore, within this location itself, in terms of car, highway, it's very, very connected. Of course, the jam will be bad, but this is at the fringe of the jam. So it's either right before the jam into the city, where you need to drive through Jalan Ampang, right? Or when you come out, you can straight away avoid the jam and hit the highway straight away out from city center. Then in terms of pedestrian, the MRT is ready, the TRX station ready, and it connects the green line and the yellow line. So that's going to be very, very convenient for companies who's going to establish themselves here. Workers can just take the train and come here. Plus, it's also an inner road that connects Pavilion, Bukit Bintang side, and it's like a shortcut into Jalan Tun Razak itself. So it's a very sweet zone right now, and I like it. The second thing I like in terms of architecture, its floor plate area is nice. So the larger one is 20 over 1,000 at the square area. So at the oval side of things, it's only 17,000 square feet. But I think it's very, very big really in comparison to the newer building. So that was the feedback for some of the tenants that shifted out from this building. Instead of one floor here, they need to take up like 3 to 4 stories on a normal office building, because due to the new building guidelines and restrictions, the floor plate cannot cater to that width and size anymore. So that's something to take note if your company has certain requirements in terms of placements of different BUs. Also, what's unique about this is there is a somewhat added services, added facility area of the auditorium, also the showcase area, also somewhat like a customer service area, and the boardroom area. If you are a public listed company, those will be very, very handy when it comes to presentation of every AGM. You need not to go and get a separate hall or whatsoever. Then in terms of the entrance of the building, although this is built 30 years ago, the turnstile system is still operating fine. The entire spacing layout and logic, right, is still fine, where you have the core in the center and you have all the spaces around. And that somewhat leads to the third part also, which is the maintenance of the building. Surprisingly, after 30 years, right, it still looks very, very good, because I think the tenant just left not long ago. That's all conditions, right, like especially when we look into the fully furnished one, it's awesome. Like everything is still rather new. If that's not your cup of tea, you can also take up the empty units and you do the interior yourself lah. So, and now you can see a lot of buses keep traveling in and out, which is going to be a good thing for people who works around the area. But looking back, right, for a 30 years over building, then this is such a rarity to have, where you have something not too high. Because if you were to buy a brand new office tower, if your company wants to buy a brand new office tower, now most office towers are not going to waste canvas space, the vertical canvas space as we say, that easily. Now every tower is going to be high rise, at least 20-30 over stories. This one is a nice 12-story, but you have basement car park. Because of the MRT being constructed, a lot of brand new buildings around here cannot have a basement car park. Therefore, the entire vertical canvas space is somewhat taken up by the elevated car park as well. So that's too bad, but this one, it was built 30 years ago. So that's the benefit of it lah, which is kind of cool too. Therefore, the 3 things I don't like, number 1 will be the age of the building. So the entire architecture was from 30 years ago. Surprisingly, the structural elements are very, very modern, where you have the distance between columns at a very, very fast span. So that's awesome, which really didn't affect much of the space. But if this building is very important in terms of branding for your company, then there needs to be certain level of refurbishment required lah. Because if you were to look in the surrounding, all these curtain wall system buildings, right, it looks fabulous, super modern. And if that is very important for your company, then this might not be for the use lah. And the second thing, in terms of architecture, this was built again 30 years ago, therefore the building height is only 12 story, which I already think is massive for buildings at that era. But now if you look at the surrounding, this is going to be the shortest building that is below all the adjacent buildings surrounding it. What does that mean, right? From the manager's room, when you look outwards, it's other people's car park, other people's lobby, other people's corridor, and etc. So in terms of views, you don't get as great. And if the view is important to you, because you just imagine, right, if modern buildings like that, you look outwards, you have skylines. This one, you at most have corridor lines. Also, something about the lift lobby, I don't know, although they are dressed up really nicely, but the horizontal layout of 4 lifts like that, I don't really like it. It's just not as effective as a square layout where you have a foyer for the lobby itself. This one is like a corridor for the lobby, and just imagine if you have a lot of people, that's going to cramp up the entire corridor space. So that's a concern. And part of the architectural concern is also the number of car parks. In total, there will be 304 car parks altogether. If they don't park here, are there any other parkings available? Maybe adjacent buildings around. There are still a lot of empty lands that provides car park space on a day rate lah. But then I think 300 over car park only for the senior management at most. Because if you think about it, it's going to host around 2,000 to 3,000 staff if it's fully packed. So yeah, that's... Of course, again, we just need to tie back to the context of that initial brief, right, for the building itself. Just imagine if we have pictures of it that is from that era, 1993, right? Oof, it's gonna be so cool. And last but not least, okay, the amount of competition for commercial areas. If we were to think about commercial areas right now in KL, there are a lot of office building that is new. It's going to be a comparison between new buildings and old buildings because the entire maintenance, the entire facilities, the entire design concept and all, right, it's going to be a little bit different. But this is where you get an opportunity to own it entirely. Valuation of the building is 150 million, where it's up for offers. And you just think about it, right, it's not that crazy of a price lah. Because the way I would think about it is also the land and the frontage of the building. This one has direct access into Jalan Tun Razak itself, and within the location, interior, there are just a lot of brand new buildings. So I guess it's going to be a scenario where a company is going to acquire it and host all their stuff. And if it's for investment, then I don't think it's going to be the case lah. Yeah, if it's for investment, then because the entire KL has a lot of commercial areas, so that's something to really think about. And I guess that's all for this episode. Yeah, it's just a very busy pedestrian experience for walking from TRX over to the site lah. And I guess that's all. Once again, shout out to Mr. Daniel for giving us access to the building. It's just a very cool experience for us to check out office commercial buildings. If you really like this episode, like it, share, and even subscribe for more information like this. Until next time, this is Sean Tan. Ciao.